Hi there, and thank you for coming again on my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to talk about a subject nobody really wants to talk about, and that's divorce. But it's important because the reality is divorces are tied into bankruptcy. Now, it might be an issue most people don't realize. Most people think bankruptcy is related to overspending. Yeah, it's overspending. That's how you end there. But what were you overspending on? That's a more important question. Were you buying jewelry or you're trying to make ends meet? So, I don't like to use that term because it creates this belief that those people who file for bankruptcy are just irresponsible and they're abusing the systems, and it's not true. Here's your fact right here. The top three reasons people file for divorce are medical bills, health-related issues, missing work, and you fell behind on your bills, and divorce. You don't have control over any of those three issues. So for people to be thinking, oh, bankruptcy is tied into the abuse of of credit cards, and that's why they put the word abuse in the Bankruptcy Abuse Prevention Consumer Protection Act. It's all nonsense. Those people don't know what they're talking about. And honestly, Congress sold us a bill of goods. There is abuse, but come on, these are the top three reasons, and these are issues that people can't control. So, I definitely disagree with that. A lot of obviously bankruptcy judges and lawyers were on the same page. Everything was kind of fine the way it was with the bankruptcy system, but Congress, can we phrase this another way? Controlled by the lobbyist, passed this law that's useless. So when we come now to the issue of divorce, we got to categorize this in two different sections, right? First place is your divorce contested or uncontested. Uncontested means you're in agreement. So the reality is it's going to cost you money. Lawyers are not cheap, obviously, but because you're in agreement, and what I mean agreement is not, oh, we agree to get divorced. No, do you agree on the issues of visitation, custody, child support, how we're going to divide all these assets? If all that's agreed to, you have an uncontested divorce. Obviously, much, much cheaper. Problem is right here, the uncontested divorce, or I'm sorry, the contested divorce. First question clients ask, how much is that going to cost? See how honest I am? I have no idea. Now, clients don't like to hear that. You're used to, go buy a car and they tell you that's the price, and then that's the price. You go do groceries, that's the price. How could you not know how much this is going to cost? Because you're asking me to guess something that I also have no control over. So I always ask a couple of questions. One, who's unreasonable, right? There's might be three other people total involved, four people involved, right? Two lawyers and two parties. So any of the other three, because I consider myself reasonable, are any of the other three unreasonable? Are you going to argue that the sun, sets on the east and rises on the west? Are you just going to argue for the sake of argument? If so, guess what that does to attorney fees? It's going to go up. That's just the reality of the situation. Just because some things can be argued doesn't mean that they should. I've been at mediation where people are arguing an hour over a sofa that's worth $25, but it's going to cost them $400, $500 an hour to argue that issue of the sofa. Doesn't make any sense. So if anybody's unreasonable, that's going to delay the process. Is this a litigious divorce? Are we going to file 10 motions, 20, or none? These are the issues, and this is why it's kind of hard to predict how much this is going to cost overall. There could be so many issues involved. Are there mental health evaluations involved? Is there a guardian ad litem representing the child? That's going to double your fees because the guardian ad litem is basically another lawyer charging basically the same, if not more. So, we're going to mediation for 4 hours, or are we going to be there for 8 hours? Is it going to get continued because it's late on a Friday and we have to do this again the next week? So now it's a 10, 12, 14-hour mediation. It's not common, but it happens. And I've been at mediations where I've walked out close to midnight, but we have a trial on Monday and the case had to settle. So these are issues that unfortunately we can't guess because it's things out of our control. We just can't predict how much time is going to be devoted to a case. What I will tell you is, we asked for a retainer. And in that retainer, let's make up a number here. I asked for $5,000 and I bill off of that retainer. So basically, I have a deposit. Think of it like a landlord tenant situation where there's a deposit, and if you don't pay rent, they'll take it out of there. Same thing. Every time the lawyer is devoting time to the case, the lawyer's just going to pull money out of that retainer. When that retainer hits zero, guess what happens? The lawyer is going to ask for more money. But again, how much is this going to cost? There's really no way of predicting this. A case that should not end up in trial ends up in trial. A case that shouldn't go to mediation ends up in mediation and then ends up in trial. So, to guess that number is basically impossible. But now comes the issue of how are we going to finance this with the personal loan? Well, the first thing you have to think about is what are the long term and short term issues here. So, this is important because this will determine if this loan is going to get paid off or not. Are you hiring a lawyer for an uncontested divorce and the agreement is to sell the house and there's more than enough equity there for maybe you to get your own place, pay your lawyer and everything, but you don't have the cash right now and maybe you have bad credit so you can't do this on a credit card? If that's the case and you can get a personal loan, then problem is resolved, right? When the case settles, the house gets sold, you pay off that personal loan, and we're done. But what about the long-term issues? See, that's the thing we got to also focus on because what are the facts of the case? And how much is this personal loan? Can you afford to pay this personal loan? Let's say if it goes up really high in value, let's say $10,000, $15,000. Can you afford to pay that back? Then we really don't have an issue, right? Maybe you don't have it in cash, but you can pull this off monthly, so it's okay. Maybe there's a house involved. Again, there's plenty of equity, hopefully a lot more than 10,000 because then you just spent all this money to get zero. But let's say it's a bigger amount, 150, $200,000 a piece. Well, then getting to $15,000 and then paying it off, you have a lawyer protecting your interest and your rights, then, that's a good deal. Another way short term could apply. Let's just suppose that this is a case where alimony or spousal support is going to be obvious. Then, in that case, the lawyer may ask for a retainer agreement or deposit. Some lawyers, depending on who the other side is, let's say your other spouse is, there's no doubt, there's no denying that they're wealthy, and the lawyer knows they can pursue them for fees and costs. Then, fine, the lawyer may take the case with no money down. They file the divorce or the response to the divorce and immediately are scheduling hearings to establish attorney's fees. But what if that's not the case or the lawyer's not too sure? Then the lawyer might ask for a deposit. Again, let's just go back to that, we'll say the 5,000. The lawyer asks for the $5,000 and then we know that'll get paid off through the divorce at some point, whether temporary attorney's fees or settlement of the divorce and all the assets that are involved. All right. So that's a breakdown. Now, a couple of things I do want to focus on. Remember that a personal loan could be wiped out in bankruptcy. The only problem is, like always, when did this loan come in? You can't get a loan for divorce for $5,000 and then file bankruptcy a week later. Time has to go by. How much time? That's not something you're going to find on Google or anywhere else. The reality is only bankruptcy lawyers who have X amount of experience could say, based on the facts of your case, we wait 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. It really just depends on the specific facts of the case. So you could Google it. I think you're wasting your time unless you find a case exactly like yours. It's just based on our experience. There's nothing that says in the bankruptcy code, oh, it has to be 6 months. No, that's not there. Again, it's based on what we know and what we've dealt with in the past. All right. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a better understanding of how this works with personal loans and divorce. For those paralegal and legal study students that are using my textbook in your courses, like always, feel free to go to the blog. Even feel free to comment. Viewers, not paralegals, and just those that are considering bankruptcy or going through a divorce process. Likewise, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to reply to you. All right? Take care of yourself, everyone. Have a good rest of your week. Have a good rest of your day. And good luck if you're in a divorce process. Sorry about it, but good luck to you. And as well, if you have to do a bankruptcy, you're taking down the steps down the right path as you deal with your financial freedom. All right, everybody, take care, and I'll see you at the next video.